Okay, in this chapter, in this lesson, we're going to go into L2 of chapter 1. So I'm going to click on L2 Start, which is the material cost for TZ Edge, and we're going to take a look at the costing of a pair of shoes, but more particularly the options for higher end shoes versus the original. So if I take a look at the worksheet that we just finished, which is represented right here in front of us. If I look down in sheet 2 here, down at the bottom, you'll see that we have optional types of shoes that we're considering to be purchased. One is called the textured leather, and the other one's called high top. Okay, so this is where we're starting. All right, this is what we did in the last lesson, and this is what we're going to morph to or change into, and we're going to play around with this one. First of all, I'm going to go down and change the actual tabs down at the bottom here. I want to change that to the word original. So I'm going to double click on that. I'm going to type the word original, like that. And same with, well, not same word, but the sheet 2, I'm going to change that to the word options, meaning what kind of options do we have in the style of shoe that we're considering here. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add up all these costs. Now, these costs are familiar from the last time we did it. So here are all the costs, $24 and the $10 for the sole, etc. And here they are replicated here. So I'm going to add up all these various cells and put it down here in the materials total. So here we go. It's a formula. So I'm going to press equals sign, and I'm going to start by adding up the various components of that materials total. And what I'm doing here is not what I want you to do. It is exceptionally tedious, it takes a long time, and it's error prone. This is a bad practice. It comes back with exactly the same value as what we have here, alright? But the problem is that it's not the best practice. So I'm going to delete that. The better way to do it is to do the auto sum and then press enter. And it comes back with the $50.51. And then we have to do the same thing for the textured leather and the high top. But I don't want to do this. This is far too much work. Far too much work. Alright? I don't want to do that. I want it even easier. So I'm going to get rid of these things again. And this time I'm going to touch $50.15 and the little nubby down the bottom right of the box. Let me expand that so we can all see it a bit better. Right about here, that little black dot, it turns into a black cross when you're actually hovering over it, and that has magical properties. Basically, it copies the formula that you've just created here, which was summation, and it copies it over wherever you're actually dragging it, just like that. So you'll see here that it's got the sum of C3 to C7, so 3C to C7, and here it's got the sum of D3 to D7. So basically what the little nubby does is it copies a pattern. And the pattern in this particular case is take the summation of everything above from B3 down to B7. That's the pattern. The nubby says, okay, or the fill icon, like it's called the fill tool or something like that, but I like to call it the nubby. It basically says if I drag this over, it will copy the pattern no matter what it is. So there's the pattern here duplicated, everything from C3 to C7, and again here from D3 to D7. Let's go over to the top here and type the word average. So I'm going to do average here. Average. And what I'm looking for here and where my mouse is sitting is the average of $24, $48, and $30.53. And if I look down at the bottom here, you'll see average count being provided. And this is a quick and dirty way of seeing things. You saw that earlier with the summation in the previous video. And here we have the average. So we're looking for $34.61, but we want that number sitting where my mouse is. So that's another formula we can do. Equals average, like that. Open the brackets. Scoop out the range of numbers that we want. So it's B3 to D3. Close the brackets and then press enter. Alright, there's our $34.61, just like what we found when we highlighted it down here and we saw it down there. Alright, an even easier way to do that, I'm going to delete that, is to hold your mouse where you want the average and then go to the auto sum area, click on the drop down, choose average. It automatically detects the numbers to the left, press enter. So a click and an enter is all you really have to do. Again, if I wanted to repeat that pattern across for the remaining cells underneath, I can grab the nubby, pull it down, and it will copy that pattern we just done. And notice how over it copied the formatting here. So I want to blow away these dollar signs here. So I'm highlighting them. And I'm just going to go up and click on the comma formatting to get rid of it. So it keeps the financial formatting, commas and 2 cents or 2 digits for the cents, and gets rid of the dollar signs. Notice the convention that is required in accounting, and that is you want to have a dollar sign where there is a list of numbers only at the top, dollar sign at the list of numbers, and then where the numbers turn into a summary or a different form of data, then you have a dollar sign again. All right, it is inappropriate to have a dollar sign all the way down. All right, let's move on, and now I want to go down to A10 here, and I want to put down something called the minimum cost of a component. So let me just get that down. Minimum cost of a component. Like that. Notice how it wraps. So this cell has been set up for wrapping using the wrap text up at the top here, so it doesn't infringe on the right hand side cells. And then down here we want to have the word maximum cost of a component. So I'm going to go Control C. It does the wiggly line thing. Control V to copy it, and then I'm just going to change the one word now to maximum. Enter, and it wraps. So what's the point of that? Well, I want to find within the range of numbers up here, from here down to here, all the component costs for the 3 options. What is the minimum cost in this block versus the maximum cost in this block for the second piece of data? So when we were doing, let's do the formula first of all, and I'll explain what I'm going here. I'm going to go equals min, open bracket, and then I can scoop out the range that I want to find the minimum within. Close the brackets and press enter. And it comes back with $1.48, which is not too difficult if we had to do it ourselves manually. But if you could imagine hundreds and hundreds of numbers in a range and you needed to find the lowest one, then a formula-based system is much, much better. Now the thing is, what's different about this ranging that we just did here is that it's not just a column and it's not just a row, it is a block. So when you have a formula with a bracket going from B3 to D7, in this case depicting a block, that's perfectly valid in Excel's world. You don't have to stick with a row or a column for the capture of a range of data. Okay, for this one down here, the formula is equals max. I open the brackets, I scoop out the range, I close the brackets, and then I press enter, and it comes back with $48.86, which is this one here, the highest one in this block of data. I'm going to clean this up a little bit. I'm going to highlight these and put borders around it. So I'm going up to my borders tool on the home ribbon, and then I'm going to find all borders, and I click it. Alright, next thing I want to show you is counting. I'm going to count the number of items that are right here. If I highlight these down at the bottom, you'll see the green bar that says count 5. It means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items in the build of a particular build of this these shoes. Down here, if I type equal count like this, it's not going to work, but I'm going to show you why. Count, and I'm going to highlight the range here. Then I close the bracket, it comes back with 0. Okay? If I was to scoop that across, say to here, notice how it works here. The count of B3 to B7 works because these are actually numbers. Alright, so let me undo that. And this time I'm going to edit this count and make it count A. Alright? And you'll notice a little pop-up that says counts the number of cells in a range that are not empty. So it doesn't matter what's in the range. It can be text or it can be numbers. It doesn't matter. So think of the A after the word count as all. Count anything or all within a range. Press enter. And this time it comes back with 5. Stretch this out to here, and you'll see it does the same thing because it counts both numbers and text within a range. I'm going to put down the word count here just to indicate what it is. Oops. Work count. Oh, there we are. Press enter. Okay. All right. So now I want to add a few rows because the textured leather and the high top have additional components that have not been added to these listings. So I'm going to add 3 rows. Now you'll remember from the previous class or the previous video that when I inserted it right above the total here, it was not included in the summation. All right, do you remember that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert the additional stuff that has to be part of this one and this one. I'm going to insert it up here so that it gets included in the actual summation. So I'm highlighting 3 rows, which is what I want. If you highlight the number of rows you want to insert, I right click, I click insert, and it creates 3 row spaces. The first items that I want to enter are going to be toe support brace, toe support brace. The other one underneath that is going to be toe support pad, so I'm just going to touch that, Control C, Control V, and then change the last one to pad. If you're a faster typer, you will probably not want to do that. And then back support cushion. Okay, so these items here are only valid for the 2 additional types of shoes that we're considering. The costs are given to us at $1.27 here, and this one is $3.29. And notice as I'm adding these items that the count increases because again it's within the range that I've added in the formula. Count C to C10. So it used to be count C3 to C7. Because we inserted the rows, this is automatically bumped from 7 to 10. It's $5 for this cost. And then these ones here are the same, $127, $3.29, except for the last one, which is $6.50. And then I have to update the averages here. So I basically take this one here. I want it to follow the same pattern. And I just pull her down like that. Okay? Now notice if I put a 0 here, what happens? It goes down to 85 cents because this is an empty space until I added a 0. 0, 127, 127 is a net average of 0.85. If I delete that, right, it comes back to nothing being added in the list of valid numbers. All right, so bear in mind that that if you put a 0 here, it's still counted within the average as it should. Okay. All right. Let's just add some borders and styling to this. I'm going to go up to the top here and I'm going to highlight this area here. And I want to insert a style. That style is going to be something like heading 3 or something else that appeals to you. Let's do heading 3 because it's got a blue line at the bottom. Let's highlight the materials total here and make that a total style. Over here, click it. Now these 2 tops and bottoms here are not in keeping with the top, so I'm going to highlight this top, which is the merged cells. Go to cell styles and let's make this a heading of some kind. That looks good, heading 4. Okay, and so there we have it. That's a very simple way of showing you some of the items again that we're repeating from last semester in order to get you warmed up for this particular course. That's the end of this video. We'll move on to the next one, which is level 3 of chapter 1, which has got new stuff that you haven't seen. Thank you.